my journey is starting in few minutes from Šiauliai, from my own home to Slovakia, Štúrovo. Approximately after 10 hours driving, I reached Krakow, and I am going to stay here one night to explore Krakow, this beautiful and so interesting city. So our crowded Krakow, fully booked by people, because it's Sunday, people enjoying weekend day, and it's really beautiful, really beautiful. I will try to explore. So it's morning, Monday, and I just started my journey from Krakow to Štúrovo, Slovakia. It's nice day, and I hope that my trip will be successful and I will reach Štúrovo successfully. So narrow mountains road, and I'm trying to reach Štúrovo. It's not so far from here. However, the road is not so good. It's again mountain roads. on the bank of river Danube, and behind me you see another side of this river. It's already Hungary and Esztergom city, and behind me you see Esztergom Cathedral. It's very nice place, and a little bit on another side you see the bridge, and in the middle of the bridge it's exactly border between Hungary and Slovakia, and on this side it is Štúrovo, on another side it's Esztergom. Hello, Metka and Boris. Finally, I met my best friends in the world, smartest people, brilliant people, open-minded and like-minded people, Boris and Metka Abeshek from Maribor, from University of Maribor, Slovenia. And currently we are sitting in Štúrovo in the town center, and possibly we order some coffee, some tea, maybe something sweet, etc., etc. Boris and Metka, can you say something after? Because we didn't met for 2 years, at least for 2 years, because it was COVID pandemic, and finally pandemic time is finished. Let's hope that it never happen again, and I am really happy.
Yes, we are happy too, but you know, we are luckily in Štúrovo. Everybody is talking about the world will never be the same after COVID, but here in Štúrovo, everything
is the same. Nothing changed, because the last time when I visited Štúrovo, it was DIVAI conference 2018, and in 2020 it was already pandemic time, it was not possible to attend, and currently, finally, after 4 years interval.
Yeah. But you know, they managed to stay the same.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's comforting.
I hope that we will have good and fruitful discussion with colleagues, not only with Metka and Boris, with other colleagues too, and these 2 days will be fruitful and useful for all of us.
Meet with you all on conference DIVAI 2022. Okay. After COVID problem, I am very happy that we meet with you. Oh, I think that it's very good situation is now because COVID problems. I welcome you and welcome dinner. I'm very happy, and I all and everybody, I cheers this. Som veľmi rád, že sme sa stretli tu a že máme možnosť sa stretnúť a diskutovať.
We are very happy that we can be together now and we can have a toast together.
This is my translator. because COVID problem, I have no problem with this English find words of English in this situation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a good day, and I am extremely pleased to welcome you to 14th DIVAI 2022 conference. Since the last year of the conference could not take place in person, I believe that we have overcome this difficult period marked by the global without whom it would not be possible to hold the conference in this form. I welcome the representative of the partner organizations, Evlis, SK, and Mrs. Fedlet, Mrs. Stoltova, and Mrs. Polova. Mrs. Polova, whom I greet and wish here really recovery. I also welcome Mrs. Rovikova, representing Čadu, Czech Academic Distance University Learning and Education, and the representative of sponsoring company NTT, Mr. Bulan. I would also like to give a warm welcome to Docent Associate Professor Mr. Križ, Dean of our partner institution, Faculty of Science of University of Hradec Králové. Professor Petrovich, Dean of Faculty of Natural Science, Constantine the Philosopher University, apologize because he has problems with his work university. Please, Mr. Križ, I would like to open the conference.
Good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure to be here, and I would like to thank the organizers of this beautiful event and our colleagues from University Constantine the Philosopher University, Nitra, Faculty of Science, and all of them did a really great job to organize such nice conference in this beautiful place. So I wish you very fruitful discussions during the day, and tomorrow what you hear tomorrow it's my pleasure to say that it's glad and conference.
I would like to thank the Dean of Faculty of Natural Science, Mr. Križ, and I think that the conference is now open. Dear friends, once again I welcome you to the DIVAI 2022 conference. I wish you to experience many pleasant moments as well as insightful conference meetings. Please allow me to continue on with our program, which is listed on the conference web page. As part of this, I would like to invite Professor Balogh and ask him to lead a section of invite lectures to launch the program of our conference.
Thank you very much. Everybody welcome to the conference in July. We have two keynote speakers. The first one is Balogh from the University of Hradec Králové. His presentation is about modeling and simulation as tools for interdisciplinary learning. Please, Professor Balogh, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you.
future of
Good day to everybody. It's my pleasure to take part here again after 4 years period, because the last presentation here was in 2018 and it was expected to take part after 2 years, but the stupid COVID started. I remember in the beginning of 2020, end of February, I returned back from South Africa, and immediately after 1 week everything was closed. It was my only one visit abroad in 2020. Time is running quite fast, and I'm going to present shortly our empirical study. It's not so large study, as Boris already announced. From Lithuania, again, I want to remind, maybe for somebody on behalf of my colleagues from Romania, because we are working for many years with colleagues from Romania, from University of Balogh University Târgoviște, and also from Bucharest. And we performed during some years different studies, and this study is related again to generally to the same topic as we exploring for some period of time. This is just a simple route because I went by car. It was not so easy. I needed to pass Poland. I stayed one night in Krakow, and yesterday from Krakow, 5 hours driving from Krakow to Štúrovo. Never mind, but it's a good experience, good day, and it was really interesting. Shortly, introduction. We discussed already and mentioned at some extent this global pandemic caused by COVID-19, and obviously different possibilities, different conditions were created, and we started to use different terms, different terminology, and a lot of misunderstandings from one side, from another side, how to name such a situation, for example, and in our case we use term distance lectures because lecturing, according to our understanding, involves generally everything, covers all study process. It means lectures, discussion, seminars, etc. And distance learning can be understood as a way or form of teaching or studies and so on. And obviously there is no one universal accepted definition of distance learning. And if you would read, for example, different papers or different sources, different terms prevails: online learning, teaching, virtual, remote teaching, teaching and learning at a distance, etc. Different terms. Obviously, you will find some in our paper. I'm not going to say, for example, conventional. I want to use this term, not traditional, because I don't like this not incorrect term, because quite often researchers, not only researchers, use these terms. Okay, from on one side we have traditional, so-called traditional education or traditional teaching and learning. On another hand, something modern. What does it mean, modern? Computer, is it modern or not? Conventional regular distance learning is based on students' independent work at any place, etc. Some relevant ideas. This includes both sides, or two sides, teaching and learning, and as I mentioned already, different terms: remote learning, online learning, virtual, flexible learning, correspondence learning, explicit learning, for example. Explicit, what is explicit learning? Teaching and learning. And the main and essential common feature of distance teaching learning is physical separation of lecturer and students in space. We know this very well. And the term distance lectures is closer to the concept of organization of study process at distance. This was our close to our approach, to our understanding. Okay, some words about Conventional distance learning is based, we already said, and it can be performed in different model, because all lectures took place in real time according to a schedule. And the difference was that lecturers and students met on Microsoft Teams platform rather than university auditoriums. And for example, there are some differences between bachelor students and, for example, master students. And here I am going to speak about master students. Obviously, students who had the opportunity to listen to their friends, oppose them, etc., and work in different formats. The first, maybe more larger study was performed some, I think, in 2020, and it is published. Distance lectures, university studies, advantages and improvement. It's possible to find online. This is open access paper, and it was qualitative study. We used qualitative analysis and presented something. Because in order to better to understand the segments of our studies, some previous works, I'm not going to show you some papers. All of them are published, and remember I mentioned in 2020 it was remote presentation about exploring the usefulness of mobile technology teaching learning process, a multi-dimensional approach, and based on that we published some other studies, usefulness of mobile teaching learning as perceived by Romanian and Lithuanian science teachers. And again, some other papers from last year. Also, study was performed related to frustration and stress in the online education of university students in both countries. Also, we received quite, let's say, interesting data and interesting results. One qualitative study was presented in Poland about distance lectures, and again about motivation, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation in online education during pandemic, and exploring perceived academic value in inclusive online learning. As you see, not all, because we continue on some other studies. Short about research methodology is quite typical. We raised some research questions. For example, are master students satisfied with online education system? Next one, which online activities should be preserved after the pandemic? It was quite interesting. We decided to include this question. And some other open-ended questions. Still, we continue to work on the data, to analyze the data qualitatively, and possibly we will publish in some 2 or 3 months. It was last year in November, December, survey type of research in as a pilot format, questioning, and we have 2 samples from Lithuania and from Romania. Not so easy to collect data. I think you understand this, because master students, from one side we have not so many master students in Lithuania, possible in Romania. Different situation. We used simple questionnaire by using 5-point Likert scale and plus some open-ended questions. Answers in writing, and we apply 1-day ANOVA plus multilinear regression analysis. Shortly about research results. Satisfaction, because our research was oriented to satisfaction with online education, and you can see here some descriptive results based on 2 samples, and you see some average for 3 main statements from Romania and Lithuania, and in both countries master students had a quasi-similar perception, I would say, on the flexibility of online activities, and the lower risks for their health, because it was so important point. Romanian students, for example, were more satisfied than Lithuanian students, comfort of online activities, etc., etc. But generally, I can say that master students, in particular master students, prefer to study online and to continue online. And for example, despite that COVID somehow ended, we continue to work with master students online at distance because they would not be happy to return back to university, physical environment, the auditoriums. And for example, at some universities in Lithuania, just a whole group of students expressed in writing their, let's say, intention or interest to continue in this online format. Otherwise, said that it would be needed for us to stop, to cancel our studies, because we are working people, we want to have flexible time. I'm not going into details with statistics, with performed regression analysis, you will find in our paper, but some differences were found. Were some differences statistically, for example, two predictors are statistically significant: satisfaction with physical comfort of online activities, and as I mentioned, with lower risk for health. And the next interesting position, comparison related to this variable about activities, which activities should be preserved after the pandemic would finish. For example, you see lectures and let's say high, no differences, generally no differences between two samples. It's quite logical maybe. Seminars, related to seminars, we see some differences in both countries. For example, in Romania, much more bigger number is in percentage, 60 approximately, only 20%, and some other differences we can see in some positions. For example, individual projects, homework assignments, debates, consultation, etc. Why we received such results? We need more, let's say, maybe quantitative analysis, maybe it depends on study process, on study structure, or some experience, previous experience, but obvious differences exist. And preliminary, based on analysis of open-ended questions, we can support this, let's say, statistical picture. And some conclusions: online education somehow open windows to various opportunities, unlimited time, space, or means. And obviously, student satisfaction contributes to increased motivation for learning, deep involvement, for example, high performance in the study, and generate somehow proactive behaviors, self-confidence, and increased interest and knowledge. And possible, this global pandemic situation will screen and integrate models of and practices from this period. And let's hope that some of the ideas possible to be implemented in real study process, in real practice, how to organize in a better way study process at universities, mainly obviously related to master students. Some references, and if you have some questions, I will try to answer. If not, thanks for your attention. Because time is quite fast.
Thanks for your presentation. I have many questions. But I will put only one.
Typical approach from boys.
You mentioned that students are still satisfied after COVID with distance. Your opinion, is good or is not, and how much distance and how much one-to-one or face-to-face education could be
It's typical question. Thanks, Boris, for this question. I think there is no final answer, I would say. Because, first of all, please, we should keep in mind that we are talking about social sciences. This is students from primary education, generally from social sciences in both countries, in Romanian and Lithuania, primary school education, pre-primary school education, social pedagogy, child pedagogy, etc., etc. Somehow it's acceptable format to study online. Possible different situation, for example, if you would talk about physics, about pure sciences, study programs, etc. For students, generally, they are happy. They are satisfied. About quality, I have no idea. If students are happy, students are our clients, they pay money for university, it's correct. From lecturers, from researchers' perspective, maybe obviously there are some disadvantages, some serious disadvantages. But logically, the average, the middle path maybe should work. I mean, mixed approach somehow. For example, for consultation, for some individual work, it's possible to use. Maybe experimentation, somehow mixed approach, I think it would be a good solution.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Sorry, one more question.
One more question. Oh, I like questions. No question.
One short question. How change the learning outcomes of students during the pandemic?
Formally, yes. Formally, it's better. Because, you know, lecturers want to somehow present themselves. To be more flexible, more polite, not so strong. Yeah, and to let's say, to give higher marks possible. This is one explanation.
Do you think this situation was in Lithuanian and Romanian?
It's not possible to say finally because, as I mentioned before, we are working now on data received from bachelor students, and it is expected to have different situation in comparison with master students, because we should keep in mind that master students, let's say, applied online format just before pandemic. This is, at some extent, it's not something new for them. Not for all, but for some study groups, for some study programs, students worked online. At some extent, master students, bachelor students, in lower extent, yeah. For them, it's, let's say, more challenging process was how to apply this, for example, Microsoft Teams platform, etc. I don't know exactly, but it is expected. Now we approximately, data collection is under progress. Maybe in the middle of May, we will cancel collecting the data from bachelor students in both countries also.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. And the last presentation in this session will be digital transformation of higher education in Hungary related to OECD report. Attila will present this. Yeah, okay. Please, everyone, just pretend that you are now in the coffee break because a few minutes before.
zkoušelo ministerstvo, tak jsme tam měli. Takže to jako já samozřejmě jsem pro, ale si musíme zabránit na to. Je to teda předjednaný, ale i tak.
Prepared for leaving from Štúrovo to Šiauliai, and this is departure time, and I am going via Levice, Ružomberok, Kraków, Radom, Warsaw and Šiauliai, and it was so nice time here in Štúrovo during the conference, and the conference is closed, and all participants departing right now or possible later.